Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So today, I want to talk about why the traditional career is outdated. Okay, so there are so many issues with careers right now. As I said in my previous video yesterday, careers previously was centered around pursuing something, following something, making sure that you did it step by step. But now we're living in a space where actually you create your career. You have to. There's this whole idea of climbing the corporate ladder and staying in a role for decades and hoping that at some point you'll be able to get to the next steps if you're able to do the right things at the right time in the right way with the right person and all this kind of stuff there. But the reality is the economy, the way things are shaping within the market, is different. You have to have a mosaic of different things that show value, whether these are competencies, experiences, skills, insights. People want an edge in the market right now, and the traditional way of doing things is not necessarily where it's at. Now, there are some challenges with the traditional career as it stands right now. The misconception is that careers are stable, okay? But if we look at how things have been going, let's look at a very modern day example. Elon Musk took over Twitter, changed it to X, and pretty much got rid of 80% of, again, I don't know the numbers, but I'm using it for effect, let's say 50 to 80% of the individuals within that space. That's a lot of employees. That's a lot of people who felt they had job security. Look at what Trump's done. He's got rid of the whole D, E, and I incentives within the government. Whether you agree with that or not, he's given them 60 days. When you look at the British government, they've said that there has to be 2% cuts within the next, I believe, 4 years, I want to say. I don't think it's within the next year, but within 4 years of when they started government. This is going to affect jobs. So nobody is safe. There is a lack of stability. It doesn't matter whether you're contracting, consulting, or in a 9 to 5, there is a lack of stability. So we have to create a model that creates stability. There's also limited growth. And why is this the case? Because if you are in a position and people see you as that role, then unless you're going to do something amazing, which some people are not able to do for whatever reason, then you have limited growth. They're very rigid, these career ladder sort of style type things. And the people who give you the opportunities are usually not there, or give them to other people, because nepotism is real. There was a very old statistic back in we're still in the 2000s, but let's say between 2010 and 2015, I don't know the exact date, where it said that 67% of individuals got their roles through someone else. Nepotism at its finest. Whether you like it or not, it is real. People will bring in people that they like. I'll never forget one time one manager said to me, look, we want to bring in people that are like us, who are like us. And he meant well. But being a tall white man who had everything going for him, that could have been construed in many different ways, And so with that in mind, it's something to bear in mind that there are prejudices that exist. Okay, that you could call it discrimination, but I don't think it's deliberate in that way. People naturally like to work with people that are like them. Whether that is demographically, psychographically, behaviorally, whatever it may be, there is something that people like to relate to people with. And so you have to bear that in mind. The other thing I was going to say is, obviously, following one career path means that you're dependent upon one income. And that is the majority of many people in this world. It is hard to create another income. Some people may say it's easy because they've understood how to do it. But the point being made is, one is not enough. One is not enough. It just isn't. We've had a rise in interest rates. We've had a rise in inflation. We've had a lot of uncertainty in terms of where you're placed in the world and what that means in terms of survival or opportunities. There is so much happening. There is the rise of technology. Look at AI. Look at the 10 mega trends in our society right now, whether that is health longevity or harnessing energy through different means, or AI or blockchain. Like, there's all these different things that are contributing to the fact that one income source is not enough. You have to find ways to make alternative streams of income. Okay. And of course, there's also work-life balance. Many corporate roles, many sort of career ladder roles require you to be there 24/7. And what I mean by that is, okay, it's not 24/7. Even if you're doing 40 hours a week, your mind is still at work. Like, it's living rent free within your head. And so having a certain type of balance, whatever that looks like, is crucial. Everyone's balance is going to be slightly different. And so you just have to think to yourself, what ideally does this look like for me? This is the question that the new career model poses. This is what it poses. So this idea of job security is a bit of a myth. It's about being in a position where you've created resilience to diversify your income, to diversify your interests. Now, of course, it's not just for diversification's sake. It's about creating something that is stable for you. And that stability comes in the form of, number one, your strengths. Number two, what you like. But number three, the diversity and how you make that money. Okay. So this is where we talk about this whole idea of a portfolio. Okay. A portfolio career. I've spoken about this consistently. So think of a portfolio like a basket, like a pie. Okay. Made up of multiple different things. So if you're looking at, let's say, for example, you're investing in the stock market, maybe your portfolio is made up of the S&P 500, okay, because there's consistency in 12% returns. Maybe it's looking at emerging markets. Maybe it's looking at the world market. Maybe you have an ETF that's specific to, I don't know, let's say tech or healthcare or something else. Maybe you have a commodity, whether it's gold or something like oil. You're having this basket to secure you just in case anything happens with any of those industries, rather than just focusing on, let's say, Nvidia stock or Tesla stock, because you're going to get mad returns, but then you could get mad losses as well. So this is the idea of a portfolio. With a portfolio career, you are diving into different careers that enable you to have an opportunity to thrive within those spaces and eventually make some income. And I know there are some advocates out there who say it's not about the money, X, Y, and Z. No, it's not purely about the money. However, the reality is, yes, it's important to get some returns from this as well. I'm not afraid to say this. Get a return on your investment, in your time. You may start out with something that gives you some sort of experience, but at the end of the day, if you can also get paid, that's great. So it has to be strategic if you are doing it pro bono or voluntarily. However, if there is something deep down in your heart that you want to commit to, you're committed to a cause, and actually no amount of money really can sort of like sway you from doing it, then that's also okay. But there are not many things like that, and there are not many people who would admit that, okay, who are aligned to that sort of like methodology. They think they do, but it's not necessarily the case. And the market at the moment doesn't allow that for many people as well. So we have to be real about the situation from time to time. Now, what are some of the things that you can include in your portfolio career? Well, you can include things like consulting or freelancing. So there's a slight difference, of course. Consultants are solving a specific problem, okay, and they use problem solving skills strategically to provide value. Whereas a freelancer, they're doing something similar. However, they may move contract to contract, okay? They're kind of doing their own thing. There's also contracting, which is kind of a liaison between the two. But essentially, a contractor is an individual who has a niche expertise and solves a specific problem, okay? But depending on what camp they are in terms of their tax code, determines what type of contractor they are. Are they operating more like a business, or are they operating more like an employee who's just basically replace someone, or there is a temporary fill? Then you have coaching and mentoring. So coaching is more tailored towards, again, helping people go through a journey, okay, navigate through a certain process. They may typically be more experienced, okay? So the coach is asking powerful questions, okay, or really using attentive or active or deep listening, or providing some level of feedback that enables the person who's being coached to understand what they need to do. They discover the answers themselves. Whereas a mentor, they're experienced, they know what they're talking about, they know exactly what to say, and the person wants to learn from them. They want to know, they want to transfer the experiences that they've had into their sort of space so they can use that wherever they're going to solve their problems. There's also things like digital products and courses or programs, okay? So you can create something based on your knowledge and expertise, and obviously you can sell this stuff. There's also agencies as well. So agencies are more centered around providing a service in order to help your client get X result. And of course, you can have multiple people working on this on your behalf. So it's a way to leverage your expertise, your skills. And you also have investing and passive income, trading, all of that kind of stuff there. So this is all about using financial instruments to get gains, to get a return, to appreciate your money. Whether this is active trading day to day or, week to week, or whether this is literally dollar cost averaging and putting your money into the stock market or ETFs or a pie in order to get a return. Of course, there are also things like speaking, podcasting, your social media, and being an author. Okay, so these are all things you can think about. I think the only thing that is I forgot to mention, which is a non-executive director, which kind of fits within the banner of contractor. But anyway, moving on. Why does some of this stuff work? Well, again, it's kind of the inverse of the things that I spoke about in terms of the whole career thing is dead sort of like idea. And that is, you get more freedom and flexibility in terms of what you actually want to focus on. That's a huge win. That's a huge win. And so it means you have more control over time. And let's be real, this is not something that just happens straight away. This happens over time. You have a greater earning potential. So rather than just focusing on one thing, you're focusing on a number of things that draw in income. And of course, I'm not saying you just have to focus on everything at one time. Sometimes it just doesn't suit people to do that. And some people just have to stick to that one thing. However, your primary income allows you to give you the opportunity to start drawing money for secondary income, tertiary income, all of that kind of stuff there. You develop greater skills that are sort of like transferable, okay? So this may be skills in project management. This may be skills in organization and coordination. This may be skills in writing. This may be skills in creativeness. Whatever it may be, you start to develop these skills, which is beautiful because the world right now requires people to learn. If you think about AI right now, great prompters are those individuals who are creative by nature, who understand their expertise, and who are strategic by nature. Those things will enable you to get great outputs from the AI that's being built currently right now. And of course, you can focus on purpose-driven work. This is the benefit. Rather than just doing things because you need to make money, you're doing it because it aligns to who you are as a person. And so when we think about transitioning into this portfolio career idea as opposed to just a career, we start to understand that actually this is a sensible thing to do over term. If you've got the biggest hedge funders and investors saying that you need to have your pie, divested a certain way or diversified a certain way, why wouldn't you do that with your career? It takes time, it takes patience, but it can be done. And so I spoke about this briefly in my previous video, so you can check that out. But essentially, what you have to do is answer the question, who do you want to become? Assess your key skills and interests. So you can use something like the Ikigai sort of like framework, where it's looking at things that you're good at, things that you're passionate about, things that the world needs, etc., etc. And at the center of that is your vocation, the thing that you should be doing. This is your Ikigai. It's a great sort of Japanese concept. I think originated from Okinawa in Japan. You can read up about it. You can check it out on Audible or Amazon or wherever it may be. So evaluate your key strengths, your expertise, your passions. Maybe look at your CV, your LinkedIn, speak to different people. Maybe you can use something like the Johari window to understand more about yourself. And then you may want to seek some advice on it. Maybe you want to speak to a close friend or relative or somebody within a space that you're aspiring to work towards. Okay. You also want to see if there's any opportunities. So maybe you want to do a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And those opportunities may be skills that you need to develop. So, I have a friend who recently I helped with their LinkedIn. Essentially, they got skills in PMP, Prince2, and Azure. Fantastic in this world right now. This is a fantastic thing to do. That's going to enhance their job prospects. 100%. So think about ways in which you can enhance your skills and actually give yourself a fighting chance. Don't just do anything. It's sometimes it is doing a Udemy course, but other times it's like, no, you actually have to do the vocational qualification, do the actual proper thing in order for you to progress, for it to be recognized by the right people. You then want to start with sort of like testing and trialing this stuff out. So once you've tried to understand who you want to become, what your key skill sets and experience and expertise is, and what sort of skills you want to develop on, take action on that stuff. Start to learn that stuff. Start doing small little projects or searching for opportunities that enable you to do this stuff. So for example, if you're looking to become a trustee or a non-executive director, look for places where you can apply for this stuff. If you're looking for some coaching work, then maybe talk to people within your audience who you believe you can help. Start off with a small sum, maybe £50, £100 to start off with per session, and then you can escalate after that. Start writing about the things that you enjoy so you can start attracting people and start developing your personal brand. Everything needs to be aligned. So you don't want to leave your job until you have clarity and assurance that actually, yeah, for the next 3 to 6 months, I know that I'm getting X amount of income in. If it's from the investing standpoint, then you want to look into different, asset allocations and looking at different types of stock, different types of ETFs, looking at the market at large, understanding what you understand and investing in things that make sense for you as a person. So do all of this stuff. It's not about leaving straight away. It's about understanding this stuff. So once you've got into a rhythm, once you've got into all of that stuff, then naturally you're going to want to start to develop your personal brand. And this is where you have to have some sort of presence, whether this is online or offline. That initial question of who do you want to become becomes your tagline. It becomes the thing that you talk to. And so you practice this stuff, you try to articulate this stuff on things like LinkedIn. Maybe if you want to get to the next step, you want to develop a website, if it makes sense to do that, okay? If in addition to that, the sort of like the content that you create will sit into certain pillars. So for example, for me, I have pillars centered around portfolio careers naturally. Not everyone knows what that is, so that's under the banner of careers. There's also more of a niche thing centered around contracting and independent consulting. There's another space centered around program and project management. And there's also sort of like a category centered around leadership, life management, personal development, all of that kind of stuff, okay? It doesn't have to be super specific, but you have to understand what are the key topics that come off that. Because then you'll start to draw in people who want to hear from you. This is where you start getting opportunities to be on a podcast or have speaking engagements and all this kind of stuff there. When you're clear about your approach, your framework, your methodologies, hey, it's dangerous. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. And this is the beauty of having a portfolio career. Don't get overwhelmed. Start off with the primary thing and then start to explore and experiment on other little stuff. And then it turns into something else. It becomes something that's a bit more serious. You also want to be in a position where you are managing your finances effectively. This is a big one because when you start moving into the entrepreneurial space. So when I started to do this whole independent consulting thing and contracting, I had to be my own fund manager. I had to be my own financial advisor. I had to make sure that I grew my money well. So that was primarily through contracting, a little bit from coaching, a little bit from authorship, a little from this, that, and whatever it may be. I had to make sure that I had protection over my money. So this was looking at things like insurance. So did I have a self-invested personal pension? Did I ensure that I had health insurance or income protection? Did I have building insurance or what's the other one? Home insurance or whatever it may be. All of these different things come into play. Like I had to think about what sort of like happens to my partner if certain things happen, if I was out of work. These are all things I needed to think about, and I needed to make sure I maintained and managed my income. So this is looking at my P&L statement each month. This is looking at my balance sheet each month. This is having conversations with my wife on a regular basis. This is also making sure that I have a certain pot for certain things and all of that kind of stuff there. My wife is great at all that stuff, so I kind of lean on her to sort of like basically advise on all of that stuff. But the point being made is, whether it's you or your partner or somebody else, you need to get into the habit of doing it, okay? So make sure that you have this stuff on check. And of course, when you start getting paid, you need ways in order to get paid. Like, do you have a PayPal account? Do you have a Stripe account? Do you have a landing page where people can actually, purchase things from you and understand your service offering? Do you have a business account? Do you have an accountant who can actually manage all of these finances for you? Do you have a financial advisor? Do you think that is actually needed for the sort of income that you have? Is it necessary? Like maybe you're not earning enough yet. Like, do you understand the tax system? Do you understand the spring and autumn budgets? And how does it affect you as a person? These are the questions you need to be asking. You need to be asking yourself these questions. So hopefully all of this stuff makes sense, because it gives you an opportunity to plan better. You want to be in a position where you're winning. The final thing is, once you're at this stage, okay, so, and I feel like I'm getting to this stage, okay, you want to start thinking about automation, delegation, scaling up, getting bigger opportunities. So I'm at the point now where I've been able to delegate certain things. Okay, so I have a virtual assistant who is fantastic, and thank you for helping me set all of this stuff up. I also have an individual who's willing to volunteer for me because they're seeing the value that I'm providing. So that's look, two human, I was going to say human bodies, it sounds so weird, but two human beings who are willing to help me. Okay, obviously one's paid, one isn't, but a point being made is I've got that support. That gives me the opportunity to scale and delegate. There's also AI, which helps to leverage time, leverage the opportunity to be effective and dangerous in what you're doing, okay? You have to be able to find opportunities. Maybe you leverage these individuals to find those opportunities for you, or you're out and about and people can see what you've done based on your online presence, potentially as an example, and those opportunities come. Of course, it's not just about marketing and all that kind of stuff. There's sometimes you need to go into marketplaces and find those opportunities, and that's how the big boys do it. You know, if it's not them being told about the opportunities, they're going onto marketplaces. So hopefully all of this makes sense. So remember, in your pursuit to develop and grow this career, you know, you have to think about technology and AI. You have to think about remote and hybrid working. You have to think about how you set up your contracts in the right way, and you have to think about how the economy changes. Trump has come into power, okay? He's looking to shake up the whole thing. And it may be a lot for people, but change happens all the time. It's how you respond to the marketplace. How valuable are you to the marketplace? That's the question you need to be answering yourself. You know, you need to be asking yourself that question. So final things to say is there is an opportunity to really delve into things that you really care about and make money from multiple streams of income, but you need to work on things that excite you based on your skills, your expertise, and your experience. Future-proof your career, and you do that by answering the question, who do you want to become, and making sure that you execute on that stuff. So hopefully that has given you some ideas in terms of how you need to approach this. I truly do believe that a portfolio career with the right consultant mindset, which I'll talk about probably next week, is the smartest path forward. Understand your strength, embrace change, and create a career that makes sense and truly works for you. So hopefully this has inspired you in some way. If you want to see more videos centered around portfolio careers, contracting, leadership, life management, all of the above, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.